guys.
Hi.
What is up?
Went to Arts Fest recently.
Yeah?
Or as I like to call it, Candle and Jewelry Fest.
Candle and
Just
jewelry.
60% of the stuff there is candles and jewelry.
Well, those are two very easy things to make. I say that not having made jewelry, but I've made candles before.
Yes, you have.
Pretty easy to make.
What is your favorite candle you've made?
What is my favorite candle that I've made?
Sorry, I gotta go. I forgot I have something.
Actually, it's probably the coffee flavored. Or the coffee scented.
Coffee
flavored.
You know, I tasted it and it didn't taste like coffee.
No, damn.
Coffee flavored, making fun of me.
Yeah. I don't like the taste of coffee, but I love the smell of it.
Yeah.
I love it. Love a good coffee smell.
Delicious.
So, that was probably one of my favorites. I also made a fresh apple one. It's very crisp. It smells like a nice, good Macintosh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Granny Smith.
A granny Smith.
Tastes just like Granny.
Ew. Ew, I hated that.
Edit that out.
Oh, nope. So, Dylan.
Yes.
Today,
we
have another bullshit or no shit episode.
We're not doing the intro?
What? Oh, fuck. Oh, no.
It's crazy how you can lambast me.
Yikes.
And yet you fuck up multiple times
Sorry.
during the intro.
Sorry. Hey, guys. Welcome to My Existential Crisis, the podcast where we talk about all the
things that make us question our
our
entire sense of self.
My name is Madison Epley.
And my name is Dylan.
So, Dylan.
Yes.
Today, we're going to do another bullshit or no shit episode.
Okay.
For those of you who don't remember, or it's your first time hearing it, I'm going to tell you how it works.
For those of you who are starting this podcast in the 62nd episode,
Yeah.
why? Go back and listen to earlier episodes. Get an idea of the concept.
Know us as people.
Huh?
I said know us as people.
Know us.
Know us.
What language are you speaking? Know us as people?
KNOW. Know us as people.
Know us. Oh, I thought you were saying N-O us.
No, that's why I spelled it.
Know us as people.
Know us as people.
Holy shit, we were off to a rocky start. I'll tell you that much.
Yikes. Well, it's a good thing the rest of this is scripted. Let's just hope I can just speak. That's probably not going to happen either.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, so if this is your first time listening to us or one of these, here's how it works. I'm going to tell you 5 short stories ranging from any time, any genre, any place, but all will be unbelievable in some regard. And you, as the audience, have to guess which are true.
Yes,
At
you.
least, sorry, what were we saying?
Oh, I was just saying, yes, you. You, the listener.
The listener. At least one story will be true, and at least one will be fiction. One will be no shit, one will be bullshit. You won't be able to know how many of each, you'll just have to guess. And Dylan will be guessing on your behalf at the end of the episode.
That's
before
right.
I reveal. You're very encouraged to play along. Please play along.
Please, we're begging you.
Please.
I'm your proxy in this situation. I will be acting on your behalf this episode, listener, and you can trust me with that responsibility.
You can't, which is why I'm asking you to play along. So here we go.
Here we go.
This first story is called The Light.
Okay.
In the small, unassuming town of Anderson, South Carolina, a young woman once dreamed of a bright future. Kaylee Mutthart, just 20 years old.
Should not be dreaming of any kind of future with that name.
Well, she was a straight-A student, a National Honor Society member, and she was deeply spiritual. But one February day in 2018, all of that changed in a way that no one could have predicted. It began, as many tragedies do, with a single irreversible choice. A friend handed Kaylee with a joint laced with methamphetamine.
Damn.
A drug she had once sworn that she would never try. But within...
I like that. I will never do meth.
Well, she was a partier.
She was.
She would regularly smoke marijuana. She would, smoke and drink. But meth she would not try. But within months, that one hit turned into a habit, and then a dependency, then a full-blown addiction, and eventually a psychotic break. On a chilly February morning, Kaylee walked barefoot along railroad tracks, disoriented and high, heading towards a nearby church. She hadn't eaten. She hadn't slept. Her mind was spinning with visions and voices, hallucinations telling her that her world was ending, and the only way to save it was through sacrifice. When she reached the church, Kaylee dropped to her knees. Quote, I remember thinking that someone had to sacrifice something important to right the world, and that person was me, she would later recall. Fueled by the meth coursing through her veins, Kaylee began a gruesome act of self-destruction. Oh. She dug her fingers into her eyes, thumb, pointer, middle fingers, twisting and pulling with a strength that not even she knew she had. All the while, she screamed into the void, crying out, I want to see the light. By the time She's doing great.
Cool.
By the time a local pastor found her, Kaylee was holding her own eyeballs in her hands, crushed, but still barely attached. He was horrified. Clearly, I would hope so.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, hey, Kaylee, what's up? What's going on?
Nice to see you.
Nice because she can't see. Yep. Emergency responders rushed her to the hospital, where it took 7 people to hold her down. The remnants of her eyes were surgically removed to prevent infection, and she would never see again. In the weeks that followed, through surgeries, psychiatric treatment, and rehabilitation, something remarkable began to happen. Kaylee got sober. When she said, quote...
Is that funny?
No.
Being sober is funny, huh?
It's hilarious. When I stub my toe or my knee, I think, well, it probably saved me from walking into a wall and hitting my face. She now...
Shit. She really started with a dark one. I'll tell you that much.
I did start with a dark one. She now wears prosthetic eyes, not to restore her sight, but to appear more normal to the world around her. She can no longer play the guitar or the piano the way that she once did, but she finds joys in other ways. Though she lost her vision, Kaylee found clarity. Truthfully, I'm happier now than I was before all this happened. I'd rather be blind than dependent on drugs. Some say the drugs took her sight. Others believed it was her spiritual anguish that drove her to the edge. But was her sacrifice pure madness? Or did she truly, in some way, see the light?
Wow.
You decide.
So, folks, if you're thinking about doing meth, just give it a little try. Don't really get too into it.
How about you watch Breaking Bad first, and then you can try it.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know this one.
You do?
I don't know it. I've never heard of this. I have an answer.
You have an answer?
It isn't so far-fetched. That is unbelievable. But damn, like pulling out your eyebees.
Your
just
eyebees.
Like
ew.
and having a priest find you. That's some intense stuff.
Yeah.
Is this maybe the most intense story that we've had on Bullshit or No Shit?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Where did you find the story? On the news or like...
In the news. All of these come from the news.
Right. Right.
Right. Yeah, all of these are from these articles.
Cool.
Yep.
So they're all no shit.
All no shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, folks, thanks for listening.
You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This next one is called The Last Circuit. In the sweltering summer of 1994, the state of Georgia was preparing to carry out justice in the most final of forms, The man at the center of it all was Ray Michael Edmondson, age 49, convicted 3 years prior for the first-degree murder of a local convenience store clerk, Alan Griggs, in a small town just outside of Macon. Macon? M-A-C-O-N? Macon?
Yes.
I don't fucking know. Sorry.
It's Georgia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ray had maintained his innocence from the very beginning, but there were no fingerprints, no murder weapon, no surveillance footage. But what the prosecution did have were 2 eyewitnesses who claimed without hesitation, without a doubt, that they saw Ray pull the trigger. Ray's court-appointed attorney, Lee Calvin, had spent countless hours combing through trial transcripts, re-interviewing witnesses, even hiring a private investigator on his own dime.
Private investigator, reporting for duty.
I hate it here. Oh, gosh. Where would I leave off? Calvin, a former prosecutor turned defense attorney, was no stranger to liars, but something about Ray's unwavering sincerity haunted him. If he's guilty, Calvin once told a reporter, then I've lost all sense of what innocence looks like. He truly believed that his client was innocent. But the jury didn't see what Calvin saw. And with no alibi to offer, Ray Edmondson was sentenced to death by electrocution.
That's not too bad.
Have you seen The Green Mile?
Yes, that was really bad.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Performance of a lifetime.
Truly.
Michael Duncan Clark.
Him with those USDs.
US dollars? USDs? USBCs? What are you referring to?
UTI.
UTI? Holy shit. Wasn't it kidney stones?
Was it?
Yeah. It was kidney stones. It wasn't a UTI, was it?
It was a UTI. Maybe it was kidney stones. I probably was kidney stones.
I think it was a kidney stone. He had a wife.
You can't have a UTI with a wife.
Oh, I thought you got it from like a separate sexual partner.
No!
Can you get a UTI with a wife? I thought it was transmissible.
I guess it can be, but it's not like...
But it can also come from nowhere?
It's not an STD.
Listen, folks, this is not a medical podcast. Clearly.
No, like a urinary tract infection. It's just...
Urinary tract infection.
What did you think it was?
I thought a UTI was an STI.
No.
I was mixing them up.
No.
Now we both fucked up.
A USD?
Yeah, a USD.
USD. Yikes. Okay, well... As the calendar turned to August 18th, 1994, the prison at Jackson was a hive of grim activity. Staff moved with routine efficiency. Ray was silent, calm, resigned, some even said. His last meal had been fried catfish, cornbread, and iced tea. Very classic Southern boy meal.
Fried catfish.
At 11:55 a.m., he was led into the execution chamber. Observers took their seats behind glass. Leather straps were tightened around his arms, chest, and legs. Moistened sponge placed between the copper cap on his shaved head. The warden gave the signal. The lever dropped. But nothing happened. A brief, confused silence overtook the room. A technician approached the chair, checking the straps, the circuits, the switch itself. All appeared to be normal. The lever was pulled a second time. Again, nothing. Not a flicker, not a hum, as if the chair had died before the man. Protocol dictated a 24-hour stay. The law required it when the mechanical failure interrupted an execution, so Ray was unstrapped, returned to his cell, silent and shaken. However, the same afternoon that he was scheduled to die, some 40 miles away in Atlanta, a liquor store clerk triggered a silent alarm during an armed robbery. The suspect fled, but not before being captured on a security camera. The image that came through stunned local law enforcement. The man in the footage was a dead ringer for Ray Edmondson. Over the next 12 hours, the suspect, identified as Lyle Jarrett, a drifter with a record of petty theft, was apprehended following a tip from an off-duty officer who recognized him from the footage. Under interrogation, Lyle cracked. He confessed not only to the liquor store robbery, but to another crime from years earlier, the murder of Alan Griggs. Lyle, it turned out, had passed through Macon In March of 1991, the same week the store owner had been shot and killed.
Making me suspicious.
Yikes. He used a fake ID, lived in a roadside motel, and left town 2 days after killing Alan Griggs. His confession was detailed and chilling, and most importantly, matched forensic details that had never been released to the public. When investigators compared Lyle's photo to the original eyewitnesses, both admitted their mistake. It's him. I would have sworn it's Ray, but now it's him. On August 20th, 1994, just 2 days before his 50th birthday, Ray Michael Edmondson walked out of the Jackson State Penitentiary a free man. A chair that had failed to end his life was examined top to bottom. Electricians, engineers, and inspectors found no faults. Every circuit, every switch, every connector was fully operational. The system worked exactly as designed, except for those few critical minutes that it didn't. Some call it a fluke, others call it divine intervention, but Ray himself offered only one explanation. I told them I was innocent, but maybe God had to prove it.
I got a feeling that I know this one.
Yeah?
Not the story itself, but I have a pretty good intuition. I feel like I know if this one is, I won't say it. But
You won't say it? Okay.
I'm not supposed to.
You're not supposed to.
Right.
You're not supposed to.
Until the end.
Not till the end. We're not, what is it? What is the word? We're not going to prime the audience.
Right.
We're not priming the audience. We are letting them think of their own answers. Are you ready for
Those are the rules.
Those are the rules. Those are the
All
rules.
right, folks?
Those are the rules.
I'm showing a lot of restraint. No pun intended. With the electric chair
story.
Yeah. But I'm sure the conclusion of this episode is going to be electrifying. just an overly long pause.
Yikes.
All right.
All right. The next one. It's titled, What Remains?
What remains, period, or what remains, question mark?
You tell me.
Like, what remains?
Oh. It also depends on the inflection. Either what remains or what remains.
Mm-hmm.
What remains? What remains?
And this one is called
What Remains.
All right.
In the quiet town of London, Kentucky, nestled in the foothills of Appalachia.
London, Kentucky?
London, Kentucky.
This is definitely fake.
Life tends to move gently. But on the night of Friday, March 1st, 2024, nature had other plans. At 11:50 p.m., the silence shattered. A monstrous EF4 tornado, later confirmed by the National Weather Service, began a deadly path of destruction. With winds reaching 170 miles per hour and width of nearly a mile long. And with a width nearly a mile wide, the storm carved through Wassel.
You gotta keep that. You just said Wassel.
Wassel.
That is so embarrassing. What's the actual name of it?
Russell.
Sorry, I'm co-hosting this with an actual baby.
You know, I used to have a speech impediment when I had a kid.
Me too,
yeah. Yeah?
Yeah, I couldn't say my R's either.
Me neither.
Yeah, Wassel.
Wassel.
That's crazy.
In my defense,
you're regressing.
The words with winds were right above the word Russell.
Right.
Yeah, that's why. Anyway, the storm carved through Russell, Pulaski, and Laurel counties, laying waste to homes, vehicles, and lives. It would remain on the ground for 56 miles, killing 19 people before finally dissipating just outside London. Among the victims of this rare and violent force were Paul and Gail Klein, a married couple of 29 years, known in their community not only for their kindness, but for their unshakable devotion to one another. Paul, a local pastor, and Gail, his constant companion, were at home that night, perhaps asleep, perhaps awake, but altogether unaware of the sheer force hurtling towards them.
Gail is kind of an ironic name for someone
isn't
affected
it?
by a tornado.
Do you want to hear something else more ironic?
Yes.
Dorothy's last name in The Wizard of Oz was also Gale.
Oh.
Dorothy Gale.
I never realized that. I never thought she even had a last name.
She did.
Dorothy Gale.
Gale. Gale.
Interesting.
When the tornado struck the house, it shredded everything in its path. No walls, no roof, not even the foundation remained untouched. Hours later, as neighbors ventured through the ruins searching for survivors, one made a heart-stopping discovery. There, amid the wreckage, wrapped in each other's arms, were Paul and Gail Klein. Still alive, but not whole. Each had lost an arm. According to Brandy Bauman, one of their nieces, they had been holding each other when the tornado hit. That's why they lost opposite arms, because they were holding on to each other, and whatever impacted them at the same time.
Well, if they have two arms between them, they should be fine.
Yeah. Just hop it, like wrap. Oh.
Link, hop, and drop.
I was going to say wrap arms around each other.
Wrap arm around each other.
Wrap arm around each other.
That's funny.
Yeah. Despite the devastation, fate intervened. A neighbor, racing to help, saw the severity of Gail's injury and didn't hesitate. He pulled a cord from nearby Fuck me. Fuck.
He pulled a cord out and was like, is this going to work as an arm?
As an intestine.
Can this be an arm for you? Wraps it around him. He's like, that'll be an arm, right? This should work.
He pulled a cord from nearby debris and tied it tightly around her arm to form a tourniquet, stopping the bleeding long enough for the emergency crews to arrive, which is what kept her arm from bleeding out. Despite the trauma of losing an arm himself, Paul was conscious and responsive. Gail's condition was far worse. She had broken ribs, damage to her liver and lungs, staples in her head, and remained on life support.
Damn.
Later, when Paul was taken to the hospital and reunited with his wife, he didn't speak of the storm. He didn't speak of fear. He spoke in the words he'd spoken once before. On their wedding day. The first time he got to see her, he went to her hospital room and started to say his wedding vows.
Making me sad.
He kissed her on the forehead. She tried to open his eyes. And even through pain and devastation, Paul and Gail clung to what they always had. Each other.
Aww.
The tornado took their home, their cars, their limbs. It nearly took their lives, but not their connection, not their promise, not their love.
I'm gonna cry. That's beautiful. Wow.
So that is the story that I titled
Worth an Arm and an Arm?
What Remains?
What Remains?
Not that. The Final Bell. In the smoky, sweat-stained underworld of professional wrestling, reality and performance often collide in strange and unexpected ways. For Dirk Simmons, known to his loyal, if modest fan base as Dazzling Demolition Dirk, the ring had always been more than a stage. It was a sanctuary, a last-ditch proving ground in a life otherwise littered with disappointment. November 13th, 1998, the match was set to take place at crumbling but beloved McCabe Arena, a venue that had seen better days, just like Dirk. At 44, he was grizzled, weary, and perpetually nursing a sore shoulder that never quite healed right after a barbed wire ladder match in 92. That night was supposed to be Dirk's swan song, his final match before he hung up his steel-toed boots for good. He'd already lined up part-time work at the Holloway engine plant, thanks to his younger brother, who'd been there 10 years and counting. Dirk was ready to leave the scripted chaos of the squared circle behind. But first, one last dance. And what better opponent than his old nemesis, Moammar, the Pharaoh of Fear.
What is his name?
Moammar.
Malamar?
Moammar.
Moammar?
Moammar. Moammar.
Okay, I see.
A younger, flashier wrestler with he was not white. If that helps.
Okay.
His nickname was the Pharaoh of Fear, so he might have been like Arabian. I don't know. What's the word for it? Egyptian?
Arabia.
That's not the right word.
Is Arabia still a place?
No, and I don't think that's the culturally appropriate name for it either.
Middle Eastern?
Middle Eastern is the word I'm trying to think of. Thank you.
Sure.
I think he's Middle Eastern.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Sorry, that was really bad. Yikes. Oh, no. Anyway, Muammar. He was a younger, flashier wrestler with a cruel streak and 8 consecutive wins over Dirk. Their rivalry was a draw for local fans, and Dirk had never beaten Muammar. Not once. But this night was different. Dirk's longtime manager and his only real friend had worked the back channels, whispered promises, called in favors, and promoters agreed to give Dirk a going-away present, the win. Muammar would take the fall in the 3rd round. Clean, simple, no drama. Backstage in the locker room, Dirk buttoned up his elbow pads with shaking fingers. He's thankful to his manager. He says, "I owe you, Tony. Thanks for everything." And he says, "After this, I'm done. I'm really excited. Maybe, he's talking about the things he's going to do after he is retired." And Tony said, "Go get him out there, kid." But moments later, the door swung open with a bang. Muammar strutted in, flanked by his smirking manager. "Bad news," Muammar said. "We're rewriting the script. You lose again." Dirk tried to protest, but they said Dirk came in a loser. He's going out a loser. Dirk wasn't very good. You couldn't guess that. And they left. Tony very upset for Dirk, but Dirk remained calm, focused. He said, "Screw the script. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it anyway." The bell rang at 8 p.m. sharp. The crowd, half drunk, all loud, erupted into cheers and...
Cheers.
It was supposed to be chants and jeers.
Oh.
And
cheers works.
Cheers and jeers.
Yes.
Yes, erupted into cheers and jeers. The pharaoh was in full regalia, gold mask and all. Dirk wore his signature orange overalls, a yellow hard hat. At first, the match went the way it always did. Muammar controlled the pace, landed heavy blows, taunting the crowd. Dirk was staggering, not great, just old, tired. He was getting beat up.
Yeah, orange overalls, not a good look.
No.
At any point in your life.
No, and it was brutal, just watching him get the shit beat out of him. But then, something changed. As blood was trickling from his brow, the, crowd's chants fading into this white noise, Dirk caught sight of his manager, Tony. He was just clapping and cheering and smiling at him, just encouraging him. And that was all that Dirk needed. He roared an unholy guttural sound and exploded back into the match with a fury no one had ever seen from him. He slammed Muammar into the corner, threw him into the mat, climbed the ropes, dropped his elbows like thunderbolts. He chanted, almost maniacally, "I'm just getting started." The crowd went ballistic. Good. Even the ref got caught up in the frenzy, never intervening as Dirk unleashed a relentless barrage. Minutes turned into a blur. Punch after punch, slam after slam. The match dragged on longer than scheduled, but nobody cared because it was just so good. Not the ref, not the fans, not even the manager. At last, Dirk covered Muammar for the pin. 3-2-1 victory. Dirk rose, arms lifted in triumph. His face beamed with something that looked almost like peace. For once, he finally won, and it was his going-away win. Then the celebration turned. The ringside doctor rushed to Muammar's side and frantically waved his arms. "Stop the music. Stop everything." Everything turned silent. The doctor looked up, pale and shaking. Muammar was dead.
Oh, cheers and jeers turned to tears.
And he had been dead for at least 20 minutes.
Damn.
A ripple of horror swept through the crowd. They thought that he was moving, but Dirk was hitting him so hard that his body was just bouncing. He pummeled in a state of adrenaline-fueled rage. He had been flailing the man's limp body like a rag doll. No one noticed, not the ref, not the crowd, not the doctor, not even Dirk. He had been pummeling a corpse.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the end of the story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I know this one. I have an idea.
Do you have an idea?
Yeah.
This last one is called Skyfall.
Oh, like the James Bond movie.
Yes. But much different. It was just before 3 p.m. November 30th, 1954. Oh, fuck. In the town of Sylacauga.
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 I don't know that one.
Sylacauga, Alabama. The day was calm. Ann Hodges, a 34-year-old housewife, curled beneath a quilt on her living room couch for an afternoon nap. But then, without warning, something ancient and impossible ripped through time and space. And her roof. The ceiling exploded. A blackened object, hot from its descent through Earth's atmosphere, tore through the rafters and smashed into a wooden radio console. It ricocheted off the appliance and slammed directly into Anne's left hip, leaving a massive bruise and an even bigger mystery. As the dust settled, Anne awoke, dazed and in pain. I hope she awoke up. Dazed and in pain, thinking the chimney had collapsed or the heater exploded. Her mother, who had been in the house at the time, was just as confused, but lying on the floor, surrounded by plaster and insulation, was the culprit. A solid rock, dark, dense, and humming with the cold breath of the cosmos. What had invaded their home wasn't a bomb or a machine. It was a meteorite, a 4.5 billion year old relic of the solar system, and it has found its target not in the deserts of Egypt or the plains of Siberia, but in one small woman's hip.
Small woman's hip. I love that phrase. Here's a joke. How do aliens like their food?
Out of this world.
I don't even want to do the punchline.
Meteor.
There we go.
Oh, gosh.
One small woman's hip.
Oh, and small woman's hip. Authorities thought that an airplane had just gone down. They dispatched fire trucks, search teams, but it wasn't an engine they found in the Hodges' living room. It was something far rarer. Ann Hodges had become the first person in history to be struck by a meteorite and survive. Within hours. Also, how many people are getting hit by meteorites?
Say the first person to get struck by a meteorite.
Yeah, period.
Uh-huh.
Period. Within hours, the story went national. The U.S. Air Force arrived, seizing the rock to test it for Cold War-era threats. Rumors of UFOs, weapons, and radiation swirled. At the same time, curious neighbors gathered in the front of the house. A neon-lit drive-in theater across the street called The Comet, as if mocking fate, flickered silently. Soon, Anne was hospitalized with shock and exhaustion. She said, "I haven't been able to sleep since I was hit." Understandably so, since she was sleeping when she got hit. Mm-hmm. But her troubles had only just begun. A legal battle broke out. Though the meteorite had struck her, the Hodges rented the home, and the landlady, Bertie Guy, claimed that she owned whatever fell on the property. The fight dragged on for months until a settlement awarded Hodges the rock. But by then, the world had moved on. No collectors wanted to buy it.
What?
The space rock that fell like a message from the gods ended up as a doorstop. Years later, because of the legal battles, her marriage dissolved, her health declined, and on a quiet day in 1972, 18 years after her celestial encounter, Ann Hodges passed away at the age of just 52. A woman hit by a visitor from another world, a rock older than Earth's first trees, a flash of wonder that became a curse. Is this a tragic story of an astronomical accident or the cosmic punchline of a universe that plays by no rules?
What do you think, listener?
What do you think? So those are my 5 stories. Dylan, what are your thoughts?
All right, going through them.
Yeah. The first one is the light.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about why?
I follow a lot of true crime stuff. I watch videos on YouTube all the time. I am constantly watching videos where they're rehashing the same stories over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like the same, like 24 stories are usually in rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like something from a movie.
Okay.
Or a book.
Okay.
So I'm going to say bullshit.
And just as a refresher, the light is the one where the woman, Kaylee, ripped her eyeballs out after being high on methamphetamine.
It takes a lot to de-eyeball yourself. To get a little melon scooper.
I was literally just gonna say little melon baller.
Yep. So yeah, I don't believe that one.
You're incorrect.
Fuck.
That one is no shit.
I've let you down, audience. I was supposed to help you.
What did I say, guys? Don't trust Dylan. Play along. Play along, because this is what you've got to deal with.
That pisses me off. I could have sworn it was bullshit.
That was no shit.
Damn.
That actually happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
The next.
Don't do meth.
Don't do meth. Don't do meth.
Yeah.
Don't do meth, guys.
We've all wanted to. Just
thought
don't do
about it.
Yeah.
We've all seen Breaking Bad.
Uh-huh.
It looks like a good time.
Looks tasty. Like rock candy.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
All right, the next one. The Last Circuit. This is the one where the man was supposed to be executed, and it didn't work. And he was then later acquitted.
No shit.
No shit?
Yeah.
Final answer.
Yes.
Why?
I feel like it's believable. And it's, within the realm of possibility that would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it probably happened.
You're incorrect.
No!
You are incorrect.
No!
That one is bullshit.
Oh.
Specifically, fun fact, that is taken from, I think, episode 2 of Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction.
Really?
Yeah, I just rewrote it.
Oh, god damn it. Oh. Wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really letting you down, guys.
It's okay. You have 3 more left. You can come back.
Yeah, I can get like a 60%.
Yeah, you can.
Cool.
You can.
Which is passing. Is it?
It's just passing.
Yeah. Okay, so if I get the next 3 right, then we're good.
We're good. We're good. The next one is What Remains. This is the one where the couple were in a tornado and they had opposite arms ripped off because they were holding each other and their love prevailed. Their love saved them.
No shit.
Why?
I remember. Well, I know that there's like a place called Tornado Alley in the South where like enormous tornadoes go through somewhat often.
Yeah.
And I know they can get that big and be that destructive. And even with that power, don't kill like dozens of people. Like 19 sounds about right. So I'm going to say, yeah, no shit.
No shit?
Please. Please be kind.
You're correct.
Yes.
That one is a true story. The only thing that was not true was the date. That actually happened this year.
Really?
I said it happened in 2024. It happened in 2025.
Oh.
In March, I believe. March or May.
Why did you change that detail?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I was afraid if it was too recent, either you would be like, that's too recent, so it has to be true. Or you'll be like, or maybe like, you're like, oh yeah, I heard that in the news recently. So I didn't want to.
2024 is still recent.
I guess. But it's not as recent as like yesterday.
Yeah.
Whenever it was in the news, and that's how I saw it.
Yeah, so if I get the next 2 correct.
We're passing.
It's kind of a comeback.
Kind of a comeback.
Yeah.
Call him the comeback kid.
Yeah. All right.
All
Hit
right.
me.
The next one is The Final Bell. This is the one with the wrestler. He was pummeling a corpse for 20 minutes because he didn't realize he was dead.
I'm going to say bullshit.
Why?
Because if I understand like wrestling rules correctly, which I don't, you don't really decide during the match who wins and who loses. It doesn't really swing it that way. Like, if you just like decide you're just doing a better job than the other person, you win. So I think...
Wait, what do you mean?
Because, like, it's determined beforehand.
Yeah,
by the managers.
It was supposed to be, and then he said, fuck that. It was supposed to be switched.
Yeah, so I don't think that a decision like that could be, like, made on the fly and agreed upon by, like, the two people in the ring and then switch things up.
It wasn't agreed upon.
Yeah, I think this is bullshit.
Bullshit.
Because also you can't just beat up a corpse for 20 minutes and just like thinking they're still alive. So yeah, I think it's bullshit.
This is bullshit.
Yes.
This is bullshit.
Hell yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
While you can make a split-second decision like that, you are correct. It would be very strange to be beating up a corpse for 20 minutes and not knowing that they were dead.
Yeah.
However, the body does, muscle reactions do happen. Body does continue to twitch and flex.
The person gets rigor mortis in the middle of the ring.
Truly.
Their limbs just shoot up.
Yeah. So then the last one is Skyfall. This is the one where a meteor hit a small woman's hip and destroyed her life.
To all the small women out there, protect your hip.
Protect your hip.
All right. I say this is bullshit.
Bullshit?
Yeah.
Why?
Because a collector would definitely want that rock, for sure. I don't think that they would be able to hold on to it. I think that Birdie Guy is a crazy name. And I struggle. That's probably the least believable thing about this.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I think it's bullshit. I think it's made up. Because 100% people would be all over that. They'd want to buy it. It wouldn't end up as like a doorstop.
Final answer?
Trying to read the micro expressions on your face. Yeah, final answer.
You're incorrect.
No!
This is no shit. This is a real story.
No! I let you all down.
You did. You failed. You actually failed. Got 40%.
I'm weary.
I'm weary. I will say,
oh god,
the Smithsonian did eventually collect this. It was donated. But yeah, after the original aftermath,
nobody was interested?
No. Until the story broke out again, and then people were interested.
Yeah.
That was the only way that it happened.
Huh. Well, that was probably my worst performance on No Shit or Bullshit.
Yeah. Bullshit or no shit.
Yeah.
Get it right. I know you're defeated, but you know.
I know you're having a really hard time right now. You're defeated and like.
But get it right.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing those stories. They
You're
were certainly
welcome.
interesting this time and difficult to discern.
Thank you. I worked hard on them.
Yeah.
I've been collecting those up.
Yeah, they're very interesting. I can't believe some woman high on meth tore her eyeballs out.
Yes, she did. She absolutely did. Don't do drugs, kids. Stay in school.
Yeah.
Stay in school.
Damn.
So yeah. I hope you enjoyed these stories. If you are interested in learning more about us, you can find us on ME Crisis Pod on Instagram and Facebook. You can send us an email at myexistentialcrisispodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Feel free to send us a little 5-star action if you like us, a little review or reviewy poo, you know. Dylan's cringing and shaking his head, so I'm going to say that that's probably not an acceptable thing to say to adults. But Dylan, where can they find you?
They can find me on Marble Folk.
And you can find me at my first name at my first name and last name.
Oh gosh, an accidental self-diss.
Yikes. That was a Freudian slip. But yeah, thank you guys. If you have any more stories for us that you'd like us to cover, let us know. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.